Hello, all. I want to talk about insurance today, and I'm going to post this Microsoft Word document on the discussion board as an attachment for those of you who want to discuss this in more details. And I keep this open next week as well. That way, we'll learn more from each other about the insurance. And this discussion is not gradable. That means it's just for our, for learning more. And there are some PowerPoints I have posted, and these are the outcomes you see, in the PowerPoints. One of them is that it talks about the types of exposure that we might be exposed in terms of having properties and not having insurance. We have liability exposure, which means, let's say, if someone, a visitor, slips on the icy steps, there can be a lawsuit. Therefore, business interruptions, that means that we have a business, something because of some reasons, we lose revenues. Are there ways that we can be covered based on the, insurance we have? And then you hear the name of indemnity insurance. The purpose of that is that to make sure you get your money and also to make sure you are not getting more than what you have to get. Therefore, there is or the the issue talks about replacement cost versus actual cash value, which means when you have a property, after a while you have depreciation. Therefore, if you lose your property or there is a damage to the property, should the insurance company pays you for the brand new, if let's say a car is in an accident, it is an old car, you have had it for 10 years, should the insurance company pays you for a new car or the old car? Therefore, these are the issues that have to be discussed in insurance, and knowing that if the car is old, then the insurance company should pay you the value of the car at the time of the accident, as opposed to paying you a new car. Then there is another the wording that you hear is about co-insurance, and that is something that requires you, a clause that a policyholder should cover up to a certain, typically 80% of the property, for example. This is an example. Suppose a property which is $200,000, has a co-insurance policy, which means up to 80% of it, which is $160,000, should be covered by the insurance, for example. And here it is. This is the example we just talked. And then we are going to talk about the identifying the types of coverage. One of them of the insurance. One of them is dwelling coverage, which covers the structure of the home. And in case something happens, like a fire, windstorms, and vandalism, hopefully that would cover. And also structures coverages. Cover something like garage, fences, and these are other types of coverages that we want to have. And we have personal properties also that if we want to cover by the insurance, furnitures, electronics, clothing, watches. You have a gold watch, you want to insure it, and then we have other coverages that can cover, let's say, based on fire, and then we have to see if the insurance covers for, let's say, houses in fire. Is it covering for the temporary housing or for the meals? And these are other types of insurances, other coverages that we want to have. And then liability protections, that is an insurance that covers if someone is injured, and also the fees, legal fees. We want to know if these fees are covered. Medical payments that we already discussed, if someone slips, on a, steps or something. And then outcome 3 deals with homeowners insurance that policyholders need. One thing is that you have to look at the property value based on value property, how much insurance you want to have, and also if you want to insure your belongings, and then for sure you want to have a liability coverage in case to make sure that you are not liable. For if anything happens, you are covered. Regarding home insurance, we have different types where you will see HO, homeowners insurance, type 1 all the way to type A. Each one categorizes a different type. Number 3, homeowners insurance 3, special form, is the most common one. When you get an insurance for your home, that is most likely what you get. And then homeowners insurance is designed, for example, for different category. And then regarding home insurance, sometimes you want to add additional coverages. If you are living in some areas like flooding, earthquake, then you have to make sure you have coverage for these areas. Umbrella insurance this is for high net worth people. Suppose if someone has a home insurance for, let's say, to cover 100, 200,000, a car for 100, 300,000, that person gets an umbrella insurance, let's say pays additional, let's say $10 a month, or therefore, and suddenly the person can be covered up to $1 million. And these are for some people who have high net worth. They want to protect their assets in case of some unusual things that might happen. And then you have to know about deductibles and premiums. Very important. It's many of you have cars and you are already familiar with deductibles, just like health insurance. And then you have to, when you get a insurance from a company, you have to make sure it's a reputable company, it has financial stability, and it is good in customer service. And you are all familiar with the major companies, just like Geico. You are familiar with other companies, therefore make sure that your insurance company, is, well known and cover, has a good reputation. And what kind of coverage you want to have. And very important, as I said, most of us are somewhat familiar with car insurance. And one of the most important part of that car insurance is, bodily injury. And that is usually the minimum in many states. Bodily injury covers up to 60,000, and property damage many states required up to 30,000. If anyone wants to do some research and post on the discussion board that what the policy of regarding cars for the state of West Virginia is in terms of minimum for the car, property damage minimum is 30,000, maybe, bodily injury 60,000. If you find it, please post it on the discussion board. But to me, these are very minimum. Let's say if you have a car, you bought a car for $30,000, $20,000, and let's hope not, if I bought one and then suddenly I hit another car, and that car is $40,000, my car is 30, the other car is 40, that's total of $70,000 of, property damage. If my coverage is only for 30,000, which is minimum, then I will be in trouble. The same is true for the bodily injury. Therefore, if you have cars and if you have insurance, I strongly recommend go back and take a look at this, how much of a coverage do you have. Many people usually try to go by to increase the bodily injury to 300,000 and the property damage to 100,000 just to be in the safe side. That might cost you $200-300 more a year, but sometimes it's better to be, to have a good coverage. And sometimes the people, as I said, get comprehensive coverage. That comprehensive coverage is that if the car is stolen, does your insurance cover or not? And then if you are in default, does your insurance cover, is it just like a liability? That means if you are in default, your coverage might not cover for your car. If you are in default, you have to pay on your own. Therefore, it is very important to know the terms, the conditions, the coverage of your car, as I said, is very important. And how much the deductibles are. Are you able, many car companies, bring just like health insurance. I have a high deductible of 2,000. If I am in any accident, I think I can afford, to come up with $2,000 of deductible. But many of the people, many of us, might not be able to have 2,000. Therefore, we go with 500 deductible. In that case, our, cover, our, premium increases. They want, more premium. These are something that, coverage limit, we already talked about the issue. And discounts, I strongly recommend to call the, do you see good student discount? If you don't have it, you may contact your insurance company, see if low mileage discounts and see what kind. Sometimes they might ask you to go and even watch a video. And by watching the video, it might ask 2-3 questions. And then if you answer them, they might give you a license. If you send that license to your insurance company, I know Geico is like this, many others are like this, then make sure to talk and see what ways you can, reduce your insurance. One other way is just to do research, the same insurance that you pay for the same coverage, if you check with another insurance company, suddenly you might pay less. Therefore, it is important to understand, what is covered and shop around, which is very important concept, and review optional coverages. Sometimes you might not need optional coverages, and sometimes you do. Roadside assistance, rental, cars in case of accident. And describe and renter's insurance. That means that if you are renting and you have some properties, you can buy them for, annual rent of, renter insurance, one of the least expensive ones, maybe $100, $120 a year. Geico gives, and many other insurance companies provide that coverage. And commercial property insurance, we already talked about umbrella insurance that, we said is good for, high net worth people, flood insurance and earthquake insurance. And I, recommend H06. It is for condominium insurance. One thing we discussed is that landlord insurance is the, if you are a landlord, you want to make sure that you are, you have this kind of insurance in case of accident. And professional liability insurance. If you are a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, if you are an accountant, suddenly make a mistake in filing taxes of someone and the person, it causes some kind of financial harm to the person, are you covered? I know some brokers who have been advising people, and they have been advising wrong, or something they did wrong, and the people lost their money because of investments. Those people could go and, sue the brokers, and, therefore, do you have insurance, and are you protected? And choosing a right property and choosing a right agent. Some of the agents, are working for different companies, multiple companies, and some just work for one. Where, this comes with independent and captive agent. An independent agent is the one that works for multiple insurers, and the captive agents, works maybe for one insurance company. It is important that you understand sometimes these agents have conflict of interest. Sometimes they can sell the more, cover insurance they sell to you, and the more premiums they get, sometimes they get better commission. Therefore, it is very important you understand in terms of insurance what is covered, and, make sure that the agent, if you are working through the agents, make sure it is a good agent and have your best interest in mind. Therefore, I'm going to also settlements. Sometimes, insurance companies try to be smart. If there is an accident, they try to, protect their own interest. And sometimes they might not, they give you as much as what you deserve. It's a great idea that you know about ins and outs and do a lot of research. And I strongly recommend use ChatGPT in case, let's hope not. If I am in an accident, I will go to ChatGPT and say, I had an accident, I have this insurance, this is my coverage, what should I do? And, try to get as much information. I am going to post this one on the discussion board. And please, any of you who have some experience, I want you to put your experience on the discussion board as students might benefit. This, as I said, today's discussion board, this week's discussion board is not about, and I'll even try to move this discussion board from, this week to the next week as well. This discussion board is not gradable. It's just for us to learn from each other about the insurance. As I said, we spend, as I said, a lot of money in our insurance, for our health insurance, for our house insurance, or for the car insurance. And therefore, the more we know about these terms and learn about it, the better it is. And it's a big part of the of personal finance. If you have any questions.